Skillet Sports presents...
You're listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
They've been close.
Well, that happens.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
Sometimes I fuzzle myself. Is that wrong?
Moving right along. Moving right along. Oh, wow. What else is going on in your world?
Okay, so did you guys get a chance to see Nick Walinda become the first person to walk over an active volcano?
Yeah, we saw that.
I mean,
I didn't see it. Yeah.
it is one of the dumbest, in my opinion, most senselessly dangerous, just pastime of this family that's going on for what, 9 generations?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so we remember the first thing he did was walk over Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
No, it was Niagara Falls. And then last year, year before that, he and his sister both walked across some building.
And they stepped over each other. It was like in Vegas or something like that.
Or something like that. Like it was either the Empire State or something, either New York or Vegas.
One or two, yeah.
But there's always more you're finding out about him and his crazy family, because he comes from a family that had they've had like 2 big accidents over the past century or so. Like in the late 1800s, like a good amount of them, like 10 people died from one of their stunts. Yes. And then it happened again in like the earliest 19th century.
Yeah, his dad or somebody fell, or grandfather fell to their death.
Yeah, he died in the first accident or something crazy. So they're constantly, he's trying to keep his family's legacy alive, but I guess also trying to kill himself. And his wife comes from a long line of circus people too.
Yeah. They got a little bit of something missing. You know what was amazing about that though? He wanted to walk across that volcano without a harness. Right. But the insurance wouldn't allow him to do that. He wanted to go across it. He was mad he had to take that harness. He had to go across with a harness.
He's been trying to do it without a harness since get-go, and no insurance company will insure him for that reason.
Yeah.
Will insure that's done. Or no one wants to see you die on national television.
Well, that could be a good Geico commercial.
Yeah. They've been turning out some good ones.
Yeah.
And you can just have the chipmunks chuck some wood over to the volcano.
Okay. No, the State Farm commercial where he's like a statue and they're like, if it happens, we cover it. That's it.
Good one. Hey, while we're talking about commercials, did you know that the Chris Paul lookalike was Alfonso Ribeiro?
You just figured that out, sir?
Yeah.
It took me a while too.
I did.
I didn't realize it the first 3 times I saw it. You didn't know it?
Carlton?
No.
You didn't know it was Carlton.
You didn't know that was Carlton? That's Carlton.
That's Carlton.
Well, now every time I see him, I'm just gonna be like, oh, corny.
Is this what happens when you don't live a life of luxury in Bel Air?
No, this is what happens when you get on America's Home Best Videos and you just talk about how great of a work that you're doing.
Hey, he's on 21. And probably right now, mom's at home watching Draw 21, Card 20.
What?
It's
something. You go to game show?
Yes, and you play
Card Sharks?
No, it's blackjack.
I never want to see Carlton become like the new Steve Harvey. Like I don't want to see that happen.
So
He's so annoying.
You know the biggest thing about it is there's really not going to be another Steve Harvey host. They try to make him, but it's not it.
So right now our top black male hosts are Steve Harvey is number 1.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna say Anthony Anderson is number 2. What's his name?
With his mama on that show?
Who still has
Michael.
Oh, you just mad because he stole your woman.
Michael Strahan.
Boo.
Strahan's on everything.
How many shows does Michael Strahan have?
Every single one of them.
Does he go to sleep? Does he go to sleep?
No. He's
coming up under like Steve Harvey.
Because he does the morning show. He does the morning show. Then he has his own show.
Right.
And then
he's there with Kiki.
Right. He's there with Kiki.
Did you see Kiki just rubbing all over him and just falling? She was like, "Oh my God, Michael, you're so funny."
Hey, look, Sarah had to get it together because it was about to be the Strahan Kiki show.
Sarah broke that up real quick though.
Because,
Kiki rolled over and she was like,
she was
move, girl.
pregnant, and she didn't even have the full.
No, she came back.
She
can't.
do her full
You
maternity
can't.
leave.
You can't do a full maternity leave with a Kiki in a building.
Kiki was so good on that.
She's
show.
so good on the show. She's fantastic on the show. I mean, I could really literally listen to her talk. Literally.
She gives it new life.
Yeah. And she's young too. What's she like, 26 or something
She's
like
a
that?
millennial.
Younger. She's like 25, maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's a millennial. Yeah. I'm just saying, she's a millennial. And she can speak for women.
Oh God, he always missed the interviewer.
Moving right along.
The hater.
Moving right along.
All right. A 36-year-old woman was arrested for calling 911 after parents shut off her cell phone.
Well, how did she call 911?
You know, you can always call the police. You can call 911 if your phone is off.
Did I hear you correctly? Her parents shut off her cell phone?
Yes. Her parents were still. So a 36-year-old Ohio woman was arrested last week when she reportedly repeatedly called 911 to complain that her parents had cut off her cell phone service.
Wow.
So remember, when your phone goes off, you can't call anyone out.
But you can dial 911, yeah.
Exactly. So officials in Stark County arrested Solani Catterpall of Jackson Township on February 13th after she called the Regional Emergency Dispatch Center demanding that the police come to her house, according to local WJW. So she just kept calling because she wanted them to do something about it.
Turn on her cell phone. How is she supposed to live without a cell phone?
Who can live without a cell phone?
Get a job, maybe.
What?
Oh, what?
Oh my God.
If your mom is still paying for your cell phone and you're 36 years old, there's a problem.
It's the life.
Like,
it's the life.
I'm on my mom's plan, and I still gotta pay.
Yeah, but you're working and you're out actively being
I wish my mom would.
I mean, you're going to school and you're working, you're being an active member of society. But if you're sitting there calling 911 because your mama won't pay your cell phone, there's a problem.
That's right. It's an emergency.
My favorite part is the mug shot they have for her.
I bet it's priceless.
These police.
Listen.
I haven't seen Twitter all day.
Why? How is she?
Poor baby.
How's she supposed to function without Twitter?
Right. How can you without tweeting?
She is a licensed realtor, though.
Who is it?
Okay.
Who is it? A licensed realtor? Everybody out there that's waiting tables and who's doing construction work. Right. Everybody's a licensed realtor.
Listen, hey, let me ask you something real quick. Winter, are there some more wacky things in your world?
No.
Because I've got one wacky one.
I'm scared. I'm worried. I'm
ready.
You ready?
All right, let's hit it.
Okay. Sydney baboon escapes.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
3 baboons escaped while being transported to the hospital, but where one was due to have a vasectomy.
Oh, I know why he was out the door.
Yeah.
Where did they come from? Why did they come there? Why was it 3 of them? You know why it was 3?
Why?
Because the male baboon had to bring his 2 counterparts to keep him calm. At the time of escape, he and his 2 female companions escaped out of the building. Video shows the baboons walking down the side of the street and disappearing into the brush.
She was like, hey, baby, you know what's about to happen to you? I was like, oh, no, girl, this ain't going on. We up out of here.
So I commend the Sydney veterinarians that was like, oh, bring some of his friends. And they were like, we're going to be here for you. And then he was like, nah, son, it's either we're all out or none of us. I'm leaving.
Wait a minute. It was a female baboon. So I'm like, oh, no, baby. No, we got to go. You ain't going to mess up my good thing.
You know what they're about to do to you, honey?
What they're about to do to us.
The escape of the 3 baboons from a Sydney hospital on Tuesday has sparked renewed calls for greater transparency in medical testing on animals in Australia. And it prompted the federal health minister to make a public statement in favor of polygamy of all primates.
What? Wait a minute.
They already practiced that, one. So I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
You could say that they went bananas.
Oh.
You're listening to The Sizzle here on WLTH 1370 AM, 92.7 FM. We'll catch you on the other side.
That was a good one.
Hilarious.
That was a good one.
Hilarity.
That
Hilarity.
I totally wrote it. Wasn't it hilarious?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, we're coming like right back up.
She's done.
This is like a minute.
What we go to now? The tournament?
Yes.
Funny.
Okay.
Tourney.
Okay.
Let's post. Oh, you didn't hear? You're fat, you're ugly, you're stupid.
Wow. Wow.
That's just what we say in the mirror
so
for
nice.
ourselves.
Do they really write that about me?
That's stupid.
Wow.
Sometimes you can feel all alone and being bullied. That's when you can really use a friend. If you see someone you know being
Yeah, that's what girls say to themselves. Oh, look at you.
stand up now, support a friend, save a life. For more information on cyberbullying, visit stopthememe.wordpress.com.
Did they say slap a? Did they slap a chick?
Slapabully.com.
Is that what he said? Slap a
It
bully?
should be. If it was smart, if it wanted to be effective to end bullying,
Slap a bully?
We'll come back around the 50 mark on this one. We gotta let it breathe. 50 seconds.
Hey, turn that up in-house a little bit. What's up, G? What's happening? I'm trying to be cool. I don't know this music. If I was cool, I would have this music. I like this.
You know what it is. You know who it is. It's the Sizzle here on WLTH 1370 AM 92.7 FM. Listen, man, I am hyped. I am ready. I am hot, baby. It is all sizzle, no fizzle. The NCAA Tournament is here. And, baby, we've got to talk about what's going on in the region. We've got some hotness going right here in the region.
You know, we have some former Maryville Pirates leading their teams to some victories. And we got between this Drake and Bradley, what's going on right now, they just closed in within 5 points to Bradley with 11 minutes left. We're about to see some history being made right here in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Baby, we have a phone call. We have a caller. Caller, thank you for joining the Sizzle. What's going on?
Oh, well, hey, you know,
It was too much fire.
sometimes they just fuzzled out.
Oh, that was all fuzzable on the telephone.
They're like, am I on the Sizzle? And they just melted.
They were like, oh my God, I'm getting ready to go on this Sizzle. Hello? That's right. If you're looking at the score right now as we speak in the Missouri Valley Tournament,
Yeah.
number 4 Bradley, 54 over number 8 Drake, 49. Listen, man, it is hot. It is hot with those boys.
They were down 11, I think, at the half, man, and they charged back. We got our own Jonah Jackson out there, starting guard for Drake, three-point assassin.
Jack.
And I'm pulling for Drake until they and I'm pulling for Valpo on the bottom. Hey, look, let me tell you something. This is what your local guys can do. They make impact all around the country, and right in the Missouri Valley Conference, you got your own Maryville Pirates leading the way.
Listen, this game last night, we got to jump back to Drake beats UNI. And if you don't know, if you haven't been following the Valley, going and looking and seeing what's going on right around you, listen, UNI was hottest team in the conference. They were ridiculous, son. Ridiculous. Can I say that again? They were ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Friday was the night of upsets. Friday was the night where you had a number 8 seed beat a number 1 seed.
And didn't this number 1 seed, didn't they have a significant win at some point in time?
Yes, they've had significant wins over everyone in the conference, in the Missouri Valley Conference, but they've also had some big wins outside of the conference. You're talking about a team that was poised to just walk their way right into the tournament.
Yeah. They were on their way. They're actually getting an at-large bid, and now that is in jeopardy right now because of that loss in the quarterfinals to Drake.
It's hard to even fathom what is going on in basketball. But just like what we said with James, it's something that you turn around and you look up, and guess what? You think you're getting your groove on, and you got grooved it.
That should be a Sizzle word.
That is a Sizzle word from now on.
What happens if you get grooved it?
Grooved it? It's a part of having disgruntlement.
So you could be disgruntledly grooved.
Oh, you could have a groove disgruntlement.
I think I've had that before. Sometimes you have to take a little Pepto-Bismol, and that'll clear that right up. You might not be able to leave the house for a day, though. But that's okay. That's just another thing.
Oh, my goodness. Listen, it is so ridiculous that Drake went in. And you're talking about teams. Now, in the Valley, one of the things that you have to have for context is understanding that within the Valley, you've got teams who regularly seem to fall behind in the first half and then make these triumphant comebacks.
Can we get two halves of basketball in here that look like these back halves of these games that they run back in? What are they doing?
No, you cannot. You can get one great half. And it actually flips. You look at the score, you'll see a score of where one team scored 45 in the first half, the other team scored 20. And then you turn it around the next half, it's the reverse. It's the exact opposite.
And you know the funny thing about this Drake game was that they had just got shellacked by 27 points by the team that they came back and defeated. It's just absolutely amazing that these guys could turn it around within a week and then crush them. That was the amazing thing about that. They were never in this ball game, and that was absolutely amazing.
It was something that really, when you look at what happened and took place, you really have to tip your hat and say, look, man, you had one team that just wouldn't give up. You had Roman Penn, who scored a career-high 26 points.
Yeah. He
led the Bulldogs. And this is a 20-win season for them. It is a 20-win season for them in the semifinal.
And this is the first time in 30 years that a number 8 has beaten a number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody saw this one coming, especially Northern Iowa didn't see this coming.
No, not at all. Especially when you're talking about a game that ended 77-56.
Yeah.
And you're talking about one of the best teams in the Valley, and they just got mollywopped. I don't even know if there's another word that really accurately can describe what happened. It was a half that you and I struggled just to build up a lead.
Yeah.
And in the first half, when they built that lead, they lost that lead going into the second half, and it was nothing that could be done. It was over. It was over.
And it was over early. I mean, they really came and put the clamps down defensively, and I think this one of these situations, I think Northern Iowa was really just looking past them, and because they had defeated Drake by 27 just a week prior to that they thought they were just going to come out here, roll the ball out there on the floor, and they were going to come out with a W. And before they knew it, they were so far under that there was no way they could resurface, and Drake just kept their foot on their throat, and it was over.
Yeah, it was over, and it was over quickly, and it was a resounding victory when they moved on. I mean, it moved on, but we've got to look at ISU getting clobbered. I don't mean beat. I mean, they got clobbered. Mollywop. Flim-flam. Hooter chopped.
Yeah.
By Missouri State.
Yeah, and the thing that's weird about Missouri State just had a young 19-year-old recruit that was had died by a gunshot wound that was an accident, and they were saying that some of that was the motivation factor for them to go out and play for that young man who passed away. But I will tell you what, they were never in that ball game. That ball game was over from the beginning, and that was just amazing that game went that way.
It was amazing that you had Indiana State with their ranking, and it's funny. I just saw a campaign that Indiana State was doing.
Yeah.
They're reinventing their logo and doing some things. And here, I'll say it here. I was going to save it to the podcast, but I'll say it. As a ISU alum, one of the things that I saw, alum, however you want to put it, I was watching some NHL, and the Maple Leafs popped up. And I thought to myself, wow, that is really a cool, it's classic, but it's a simple logo. And I was like, Indiana State could use the same motif that the Maple Leafs are using.
You're not loving the Indiana State logo, I'm assuming here.
Let me put it this way. If you were a first-year graphic student, a first-year graphic arts student who was in the 4th grade, it would probably be good.
The colors are right, though, isn't it?
Look, man, it's bad enough that you're a sycamore. I mean, you can't go out. A mascot that's a tree doesn't work.
Well, Stanford has a tree.
Yes, but it's Stanford.
I was getting ready to say.
Stanford. They're smart enough. Okay, so you're going to be like, oh, you're a tree. We're Stanford. Oh, yeah, well, okay. But when you're Indiana State, you say, hey, we're sycamores. You know, there are people who at Indiana State who have no idea what a sycamore is.
Do they have like a lot of sycamore trees down in that area?
Yeah.
They do?
Well,
I thought we were like an oak tree, like state in general. Like,
That should be the oak trees.
honestly.
And
then Morris Day could do their theme song.
we could.
Yeah, it would work.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man, it's nothing. And then when you have Sycamore Sam, you have this wild-looking coyote cat dog
Sycamore
wolf.
Sam?
Sycamore Sam. He runs around scaring women and children at the game in a blue outfit. And I'm just...
No.
Yeah.
All of this is just, it's a no for me, dog. We got to stop this.
I'm just saying, man.
He's going around scaring women and children.
He scared me. I was scared. And there were other...
You're a grown man.
I'm a grown man, and there are women and children there that were just like, I can't do this. What is he? Is he a wolf? Is he a dog? Nobody knows. And what does he have any relationship to a tree?
He would have got shot if it was me.
Well, I think that
Well, I know a relationship you could have to a tree.
Dogs.
Yeah. You see the connection there?
Yo, big shout out to my man QZ. Yo, Quentin. Always remember hashtag ladies peeping when they see me.
Okay.
Yeah. Since that came out, I thought about it and I was like, wow, that is a natural segue to that.
It is. And you know that should be the hashtag for the show.
Big shout out to Notorious Big.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to give credit to artistry where artistry is due.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just putting it out there. That's how bad watching this ISU and Missouri State game.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. It was just terrible.
It wasn't even a good game, but I tell you what was a good game.
What's that?
Okay.
I don't know if that is that a word.
I think you just might have ordered something. You know, the Chinese restaurants do need some. They do need some work right now, and I think you just put in an order.
That's right. I put in an order for a Valpo upset of Loyola.
You know what was amazing about that? They were 18 points down, and they looked like they didn't have a chance.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. They're two.
Not a chance.
Look, their number one player was not playing well at all.
I'm always rooting against Loyola.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Well. You
Wait,
So it just
are
made
you
me
a
more-
Sister Jean head?
What up, Dave? Look, here's the thing about that was with Loyola. I think it was a situation where Loyola has been living at the top of the run for such a long time, and I think once they had Valpo down to 18, I think they took their foot off the gas, and then once Valpo got running downhill, they couldn't stop.
No, what Valpo had.
That's true.
That's all it was.
They did not know. They didn't know that their seniors were going to step up big, and they didn't know about John Kaiser.
Kaiser played out of his absolute. You know, he saved that ball game for him twice.
Look, man, let me tell you something. If you don't know, if you haven't been to a Valpo game, you don't understand hashtag you've been Kaiser rolled.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
you could say that Kaiser was on a roll.
That's what I'm talking about. This guy, he you know what's amazing? It was beautiful. It's beautiful. You know what's amazing about John Kaiser? Is that when you look at him play, he looks like a guy who's playing in a rec league because he already looks like he looks like he's about 40 already.
Yes.
You know? But the guy, his game is so quiet, but he makes the right plays.
Yeah.
He made one of the greatest blocks in Loyola history when they had the game. Really, we're getting ready to put it on ice. They inbound the ball. The guard gets ripped right there at the circle. It was an open drive to the basket, and Kaiser comes out of nowhere and blocks it out of bounds without fouling.
You know what he said?
I think that's what he said.
It looked like that's what he said.
But
that's what I'm interpreting.
I mean, and he made a great pass. Drew both defenders to him, kicked it off to Mr. Iran. Is it Iran or Iran?
It is not Iran. It is Aaron.
And look, I'm trying to be politically correct.
Aaron Gordon.
It's Aaron Gordon.
You have it all wrong. It is Aaron.
Aaron. That is the greatest skate.
Hey!
That's the greatest skate.
Let me tell you something, Aaron. You know, when you hear your name, you better get up, Aaron.
You know your name.
You know your name.
That's what I'm calling you.
Hey, look, man, when Aaron got the call, he stepped up.
He did. I mean, and he made a layup. And that was easy. He could have blew that layup. That was the easiest layup. And sometimes you blow them layups. But look, they played well. They defended great on the back end. They got a tough battle coming up against Missouri State here. We tip it off here in about 35 or 40 minutes. So, look, Valparaiso, that was their biggest test, I think, right there.
Mad shout out to EG. Mad shout out to Donovan Clay. He is doing his thing for a rookie coming in. The young fella. I like the young fella.
Yeah.
Strapped it up, put it on. No one had an outstanding game. I mean, it's one where Javon wanted to. It's one of those games you wish you could forget.
Well, the issue is that they did a lot of small things. I mean, Javon had a big steal toward the end of the ball game before he fouled out. Had a huge steal. They played good, solid defense because this was a Loyola team who can light you up. And we saw that they stayed within. There was a point in time Loyola could have ran away, and they could have got 30 ball.
You know, it's funny. In watching their games over this past season and last season, Javon Freeman Liberty's always had bad games against Loyola. But since he's been at Valpo, this was his worst game. Well, in a Valpo uniform, this was actually statistically his worst game.
You had two seniors. You had Fazekas come up and play huge for him. Kaiser came up and played.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you a guy who I did not think was ever going to come up huge for Valparaiso. And that was Mr. Sackey.
Oh, your man, my man, Mr. Sacks.
The
sack man.
He came up and he played out of his mind, hitting some big three balls out there, playing really great defense. And I think he just slowed his game down. I always liked the kid, but I think he was just playing too fast. Sometimes speed can be your enemy at times.
Yeah, he has ball, run ball.
Yeah, and he just we're gonna run, we gone.
Has ball, run ball. You're like, wait, who? Oh,
and you left the ball back there. This time he played within himself. He stayed out there. He looked great, and he hit some big shots when he brought them back. So it was really just an overall from three guys. You didn't really think they were going to lead them. We saw Malik play well. He took good shots. He weren't falling. We saw Freeman Liberty being bottled up a little bit more. I still think he's dealing with the illness that he was dealing with. I think these back-to-back games, he probably was drained a little bit. Hopefully he gets an IV. But I'm looking for big things out of those guys today. I'm looking for Freeman Liberty's going to play a big ball game today. I think this type of ball game is up and down the court. Is what we're going to see today. Really goes toward that type of basketball. And I think it's what you're going to see. I think they played their toughest opponent yesterday. Was the Loyola Ramblers, and I think they got a good chance against Missouri State.
I think Loyola was that team that they had to beat
mentally.
That was that mental. It was an empiric victory, but it was a victory where they were able to say, we've beaten a nemesis that has been able to bottle us up. Because if you looked at their last two games against Loyola, they lost by less than 2 points or 2 points or less in each of those contests.
Right, and Loyola's always been the cream of the crop in the Missouri Valley Conference right now.
And Porter Moser gave them a really good compliment. He had said he had mad respect for them. You know, the bigs got in trouble, and that was with Kurt Wig there. You're going to get in trouble. He's going to get your bigs in trouble.
Yeah.
So as long as you played a control game and as long as you played within yourself, you made it happen. So listen, man, that was our first segment on the tournament. We're getting ready to come back with some more tourney games. Baby, we had some games today.
No.
We had some games today. The Soup played against the Tall. We'll talk about that on the other side.
Yeah.
You're listening to WLTH 1370 AM, 92.7 FM, The Sizzle. Now, about you.
You just need more cowbell.
We need a new cowbell?
You just need more cowbell. Because you got your horn just going. You just need cowbell.
Dude, I have multiple horns.
Would you listen if your body said,
multiple.
I have pain and pressure in my abdomen.
What up, Matthew? What's going on?
Or
I got multiple
Glad y'all
horns.
tuning in, man, huh?
too fast.
20.
You got 20. You got 20 horns.
But I've already
Wow.
gone through menopause. Or I have to go to the bathroom more often and more urgently than usual.
Listening to these, I bet
These can be signs of a gynecologic cancer, like cervical, ovarian, uterine, vaginal, and vulvar cancers.
Yeah. Well, what?
Symptoms aren't the same
We're
for
part of the Me
everyone.
Too movement, too.
If your body says
You do?
something
That's
may
how
be wrong,
that works.
please listen. And if
Not
it goes
even a
on for
little
2
bit.
or more weeks,
You do?
see a
But men
doctor.
do have to
It
get
may be
Oh, yeah.
They need to
I
get
mean, just
checked.
Google the cancer is big for me.
learn the symptoms.
Well, a lot of times
In
guys
fact,
just don't go.
Knowledge about
If you're listening to us,
gynecologic cancers,
Facebook,
call
YouTube,
1-800
men, you
CDC
need to go and
info.
get checked, especially for prostate cancer.
Yeah, gotta take care of your prostate, guys. Because you got, if you're of that age now, you know what age I'm talking. You know what age I'm talking about. Well, let's see what's going on here. Am I on the right one right now?
You're listening to the Sizzle here on WLTH 1370 AM, 92.7 FM. We are back in the building, and baby, you know when you hear that basketball on that hardwood, it's the hardwood from the Sizzle, baby. Oh,
And when you get that hardwood from the Sizzle, you better understand, baby, that it's coming fast and deep.
you know what?
We go deep into basketball. That's what we're talking about.
We go deep. We pound it hard
Yes, we do.
and make it round.
Yeah.
You're gonna just leave me over there in the pounding it hard and putting it in the hole. That's the hardwood. You put it in the hole. The key to the game is you take the round ball and you put it in the hole.
That's true, Dr. Naismith.
Dr. Naismith had a tie into Indiana State, but we won't talk about that.
Wow, you just got all types of trivia.
I've got nuggets all over the place, baby.
That's a problem.
Well, what's really a problem is
What's
I
that?
like some nuggets right about now because I am hungry. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah.
All this basketball talk has made me hungry.
Yes, it's always time for wings.
Wing time.
It's wing time.
Wing time.
If I want to bring some wings out there,
Listen, if you need your show promoted and you've got some good wings, you better come to the Sizzle because we need some wings and you need to be on the Sizzle.
and we need some hot habanero sauce.
Hot
The
habanero.
mango habanero.
Habanero.
Yeah,
You have to say it that way. Habanero.
I didn't go to Spanish class for 7 years straight.
Well, hey man, when you do, you learn how to say habanero.
Wow.
Yes.
You're very talented there, sir.
I'm getting ready to audition for the new role of Catman.
Wow. Are you going to wear the suit like Catwoman suit too?
I believe in equality. I know that.
You're part of the Me Too movement too?
Let me tell you something. It's Women's History Month, but I believe in equality, so Catman should be in the building.
Wow. If you put that on, I'll take the pictures. I just want to let you know.
Nah, somehow I feel it's going to end up as a bad Quentin Tarantino film. Yeah, it's something about Catman and the Gimp. It's just a little bit too much.
Yeah, it might be too much.
Yeah, a little bit too much. Yeah. But listen, what was too much was number 14 Villanova steamrolled. I don't know if you steamrolled the team if you win by 1 point, but they got Georgetown.
Wow.
Got him. I was watching the game. Got him. The suit beat the tall. You had Patrick Ewing, he and his ridiculous colorway gym shoes, as he looked on as Georgetown got slapped around.
Wow, no kidding.
It always amazes me how programs are able to keep just populating and getting these good teams and getting these kids in, and just year after year, they may not be great NBA players, but if you look at, let's say, Milwaukee right now, they have Dante DiVincenzo, who was great at Villanova.
Yeah.
And even with Archie Diacono at the Bulls, I mean, they keep producing players who can get to the league.
Well, the issue is they're fundamentally sound. And to be in the NBA, there's two things you need to be, and you have to be at the extreme on one side. Either you have to be extremely athletic or extremely fundamentally sound. And that's what you see with teams that come out. These guys are not these big, huge, athletic guys, but they come in and make all the plays correctly. They come in and they know the angles to cut. They know how to defend guys who are bigger and stronger than them, how to box out. And that's what you get taught in these mid-major programs, because that's the only way you're going to compete with the Kansas and the Kentucky, by being fundamentally sound.
You know, we talked about this last week. Are we seeing a movement of the rise of the mid-major?
Well, yeah, guys can go in and play. Why should I go to a major program and sit on the bench and might not play at all? Where now I can go, you're going to see, well, look, Javon Liberty Freeman is a prime example. This is a guy who could be playing basketball at some of the bigger name schools, but he came to Valparaiso because he knew he's going to be able to come in with that skill set and be able to play. And that's what you're seeing. Guys are starting to do that now. They're getting better playing time, better coaching, I believe, because you have to teach those fundamentals. You can't rely on athletic ability. You have to teach the fundamentals. And guys are becoming more rounded ball players because they're going through these mid-majors.
Are we also seeing the rise of the 4-year athlete versus the one and done, or the one that's getting ready to go right to another kind of program?
Well, I mean, you look at a Duke. I mean, that's why you start to see Duke having these losses that they shouldn't be having.
Because everybody does is a one and done athlete.
Right, they're a one and done athlete, right? And so you don't have that foundation set there where you're deep from 1 to 10. You don't have that now. Now you got 2 or 3 guys on top who are really good, and then you have other kids who are saying, hey, I'm not going to go there because I'm not going to get stuck on that bench. And so you have lesser players playing for Duke than what you had before.
Is that how you explain a San Diego State?
Yeah, San Diego State, I don't think 10 years ago, San Diego State, there never could have been a San Diego State. But now with all these one and dones, and now kids who have more access to these programs, and recruiters having more access to these kids, and the AAU programs, they're able to draw these kids over and say, hey, you come out here, you're going to play big time college basketball.
San Diego has a bunch of star high school players.
Yeah.
That are now, they have a team of all 5 people at the court at all times. Is one of those, as a name player, as a person, you will remember their name. They're all good people. If you are from the area they're from, you've seen their name at some point in time. So I mean, that's how I'm thinking the game is going to progress. If more players from, we have so many high schools around here.
Right.
So many, there's maybe 1 or 2 guys that are like, oh, he could go to the pros, he could do this, he could do that. But how many of them are going to actually do that?
And what you said, and this is the reason why, like a team like DePaul, who has that storied history, should be able to recruit the Chicagoland area. And if they were able to recruit that Chicagoland area successfully, DePaul would be a powerhouse in the NCAA.
People forget that there are more conferences than just the NCAA. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So, DePaul's not an NCAA conference.
Right.
But it is a school that is big in their conference. So there are other conferences.
Right. There's bigger conferences in the Big Ten. I know you're talking about these other major conferences within the NCAA. And so that you can go and play at the Missouri Valley Conference. I know exactly what you meant. Yeah, you can go and play at these different type of conferences, Big Sky and the Big West and all these different conferences. And now because of the internet, now because of YouTube, you can be seen. Somebody's going to make a highlight film of you. You're going to have a little cool music playing up underneath you. And so now you can be a star playing at a San Diego State.
That's all, that's all the film department at DePaul was being asked to do. Can you make a video for so-and-so? And
Yeah.
it's like, sure.
Right, and you're looking at really conferences now that are making power moves outside of the Big Ten, the Big 12. You have like the Big Sky. You have the MVC.
Yeah.
Where you have now, because of the loss, and it's funny how this works, because of that loss to Drake, UNI gets an automatic bid to the NIT tournament.
Yeah.
They get an automatic bid. So even if they're on the bubble, and we're going to talk about some bubble teams. We're going to talk about Richmond, North Carolina State,
Right.
Utah State.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some teams out there that are right on the fringe. But if you're a team on the prefaces of getting into the tournament and you don't make it in, is an NIT invitation, is that disrespectful to
Well,
offer?
it used to be that if you went many years ago, the NIT was a big deal. Now it's like the consolation prize that people just leave. Like they almost don't want to say they even played in NIT because you didn't make it to the big dance. However, though, now because of now it's covered more, it's more people that now you're going to start to see teams get an opportunity to play. They're like the Robert Morrises and different ball clubs like that. You're going to see a couple of teams from the Missouri Valley Conference. They're going to get NIT bids. So you're looking now that these tournaments now are just not castaway tournaments anymore. If you're not one of the teams that make it into the big dance, you still can go and shine at the NIT.
So let me ask this, in just having a conversation. If you say, or if I tell you, you have an opportunity to get into the NCAA tournament,
yeah,
maybe make it to the round of 64, maybe, or you have a chance to win the NIT tournament, I'm guaranteeing you one of the two. You can either make it to the dance and get into the field of 64, which you may or may not, or you can go to the NIT and win. Which do you choose?
I'm going to the big dance. Look, the NIT, there's no prestige in winning the NIT. Who won the NIT last year?
I have no idea.
There we go. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. No, to get into the tournament, to actually go play, if you're a 16th seed and you're going to go play a number 1 seed in that type of tournament, in that type of atmosphere, for that 90 minutes, you're never going to be able to play in that type of atmosphere ever again with that type of TV coverage. That's your Super Bowl. You're going to go take that and you're going to go play.
Yeah, it's one of the things, it's a question that's been out there, and you're starting to ask yourself, do these students get to get the best of their basketball experience when they only make it to the NIT? Or would you rather just say, hey, I'll compete for that round of 64?
Well, yeah, but here's the goal out of all these Division I basketball teams is to win the national championship. That's what you want. What's the song of the season? One Shining Moment? I think that's what it is, right? One shining moment.
It's amazing. Now, I could tell you about hashtag never too much. That's that's
for another show.
For another show.
After midnight.
Yes, that's the Sizzle After Dark show. But let me tell you now, man. If you get to that round where you hear that one Luther Vandross song, I to this day I still have no idea.
But if you can get on that rejoin, if you're on that last one played, and you got the shot goes up, you get look. That's your ringtone. That's your call. If you can get on One Shining Moment where you had a run, because one of these teams, there's going to be a 16 seed that's going to be the number 1 this year. That's going to happen. One of these number 1s are going to go down. And I'm looking at a situation right now that, if you win, you're going to get the song played. You know what's funny right now is we're looking at live scores. You've got number 22 Virginia that's tied up with number 10 Louisville. So you've got these programs where you've got now, and we're talking about conference games. Yeah. You've got Duke and North Carolina coming up later on this evening. What are some of your predictions as far as some of the big teams that are around, because you have to really go through this field first before we can get to the brackets? And I know we told everybody we were going to have our bracket games. Well, we're getting you those bracket informations because right now we're making you the informed listener. Right. So when you fill out your brackets, you'll know who you should be looking at moving forward. What do you think? What are those big, if there was a J Sizzle prediction from the big teams right now in the tournament, early bracket predictions, who do you think is primed to go to the Final Four, that Elite Eight, that Sweet 16? Who are the teams right now that you're looking at as being the top teams in the NCAA tournament? Out of the Midwest, man, I love Michigan State. I think that's a team right now. They sort of get looked. They do well in the tournament, but they get overlooked. But I think this is a team that can advance all the way from out of that bracket. I love Michigan State coming out of that bracket. I think they're going to be. I think that's a team that you can go in and really put your money on that they're going to advance. I look at Kansas. Kansas got flaws. Villanova. I don't see that really working out for Villanova like you think it's going to. So I really like Michigan State. I think Michigan State's going to be pretty good. Another ball club who's sort of off the radar a little bit is you're looking over in the East. You're looking at Louisville. Mm-hmm. I think Louisville is one of those ball clubs. They're not super sexy, but that's a ball club that could go. Everybody's looking at San Diego State coming out of the East, but I think that's one of those number 1 seeds at some point in time they can fall in the second round. They're not going to go in the first round, but we get in that field of 32. That's a team that can fall. So you look at even in the West, you always look at Gonzaga and teams like that. But I like, I want to say that I like Duke to come out of the West. But right now, Duke has been so up and down, but they always find a way. Coach Krzyzewski finds a way to push it, to make Duke a viable entry and get them down into the Elite Eight. So I think you're going to see Duke advance out of there. And out of the South, man, I think, I don't know. You know, think about it, it's like Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
Baylor sort of, I don't know.
They're hit and miss.
They're hit and miss. I just don't think you can ride Baylor all the way in. I just don't think you can.
They wax and wane.
They do,
yeah.
You know, and I don't think Creighton's strong enough coming down. I don't think Creighton is strong enough.
Well, we were watching Creighton earlier, and Creighton always has amazing shooting talent.
Yeah.
But not strong enough to compete in the field. What makes a team like Creighton different from a team like Gonzaga?
Well, there's not a lot of difference in there, but what you do have is that you have guys. First thing you have a junior and season-laden ball club, and so with a Creighton who plays a different style, they're a little different than Gonzaga. Gonzaga actually plays a more up and down game than what you think they actually play. They actually will get out and run on you. Creighton is a team that's looking to spot up and shoot from outside, and they're going to try to hit you with the backdoor stuff. So if you're not really solid defensively against Creighton, they're going to exploit you, especially with the backdoor cuts.
Okay, so that makes sense. I mean, it all comes down to some mathematics and understanding how these teams are winning. But look, when we talked about the West, now you mentioned Michigan State had an up and down season, haven't really been
the Midwest,
a model of consistency out of the Midwest.
Yeah.
But moving forward, they're going to the small ball lineup.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to the Rockets ball, where they're going to move out that traditional center, move everybody around, get a motion offense, and really get people into the paint. But let's give some love to my man, Coach Rags, and Utah State. Utah State really, they're there consistently, and they've been there consistently the past few years. What makes those kind of programs good programs at this point?
You know what, Utah State does a really good job. They're able to recruit those guys who feel like they've been slighted. And they bring a lot of those guys into the program, and it's one of those programs, you're in Utah, number one.
Right.
So there's not a whole lot of nonsense you can get into when you're up in Utah. And so it's school and basketball.
Right.
And they take those guys in and it gives them a second chance to be great. Because a lot of those guys that play for Utah States, those are guys who thought they should be at some of these bigger programs, and all of a sudden you put those guys into that mix, and then you put an up-tempo type of ball game out there, along with the discipline of playing good defense, and all of a sudden that's a team that's scary.
Yeah, it really, when you look at a lot of these teams and getting ready to go into the tournament, what is most scary to me is you've got a lot of the old traditional programs who are having problems because you have so many mid-majors that are coming in and being effective against some of these one-and-done schools. But look, we're going to leave it right there for right now because we've got to go to break. You know what it is. You know who it is. It's the Sizzle here on WLTH 1370 AM 92.7 FM. We'll see you on the other side.
You know another team coming out of the East too, man? I'm going to tell you, Dayton looks good coming out of the East. The Dayton Flyers, they look good coming out of the East.
Dayton always looks good. So we've got
over 20 years of experience.
We've got some
Brandon, Washington, 1223 Broadway, Gary, Indiana.
Women's History Month
07
segment.
219-793-2822.
Oh, women.
That's what's up.
Respect my
And what do we talk about with Women's History Month?
Respect my body.
Respect them.
Respect my faith. Respect my vision. My vision. Respect my wisdom. Respect my culture. My culture. Respect my future.
So it being Women's History Month, right? That means what about the other 11 months?
Respect my boundaries.
You don't care about the number. You only get one. It's like Black History Month. You only get respected in 1 month.
So when did Women's History Month start?
Glad you asked that question.
Respect.
We're getting ready to give our listeners a clear view of what women's history is. Now, I'm glad that is like Pavlov.
Women's History Month.
March.
It's a time we set aside to honor women's contributions.
What's the women's symbol?
Business, sports,
social movements, and so many other fields. For centuries in America, women's contributions in these fields were often overlooked. As a result, they were omitted from history. That's why
in
we celebrate
1981.
Women's History Month, and the opportunity it gives us all to get a more complete picture of our American history.
You need to listen, though.
It's important that we use times like this to teach new generations about those women we all know, like Rosa Parks, whose refusal to surrender her seat to a white passenger on a bus
Had
helped
nothing
launch
to
the
do
effort
with
to end racial segregation in
women,
America.
but okay.
Yeah, but
And she wasn't even the first
An
one.
abolitionist who
We've
became one
been
of the
through
leading
this,
figures in
but
the
you know,
movement
white
to
women.
gain the
Well,
right
Pop
to vote
Freeman
for women.
was.
Huh?
And like Claire Booth
Pops
Luce, the first
Shut up.
American woman appointed to a major ambassador post. This month also gives us an opportunity
this is gonna be
to learn about
very
those
special.
women whose names we don't know as well. Like Alice Ball, an African-American chemist who in the early
Can we talk about
20th
Hidden
century
Figures?
developed
Yes.
the first successful
You know,
It's like,
the-
I know black women.
The Last Scientist.
that once left its victims
Mae
ostracized
Jemison.
from
I got a few of them.
No, well, she just passed.
And like
The
Joe
last time
Biden,
Catherine Johnson.
Catherine Johnson just died.
She just died
Oh,
about a month ago.
man.
women's
I was
mental
like, less than
asylum
that.
It
in New
was?
York City.
I just saw an interview with her that was done within the last couple of years. She was amazing, man. She was amazing what she was able to do.
Chemist Stephanie Quallen, who in 1965 created
And she said the movie was close, but it didn't touch on hardly anything about what it really was like until that period of time.
They
that
will
protect the
never
lives of our law
understand probably
enforcement
how
Yeah.
and
racist
military.
that environment
Right.
was.
Women have invented new
That
medicines,
environment was.
fought
And
as
she
heroes
wasn't
on
the
our
only black
battlefields,
woman.
and
There were so
protected
many of them.
laws in our
The
communities.
entire
They
rules
led
for
the
their
effort to end
coding
slavery.
department
They have created
was
businesses
black.
and built
Right.
hospitals.
There was 40 or
And they
50
fought
black
so
women
their
out there.
mathematics department, entire
Women played
rooms of
pivotal
black
roles in
women
building this
doing the
country.
math for this
The
stuff.
United
Yep.
States wouldn't be the economic
They will
superpower and the
never,
world's beacon
never,
of
never
liberty
give us
without their
enough props for that.
contributions.
Yeah, they named this
On the home front,
a
on the
section
war
of one
front,
of the
and in
buildings
the workplace,
Right.
there after
women
her,
have
but
served
they will
and
never
shaped
give
our
us
great
the
nation.
just due. You know what I'm
That's why
saying?
I
Women's
just want you
History
to know,
Month is such an
I had to
important
do this
opportunity for us to
so I'm not
pause
listening to you
and
today.
honor their profound contributions. As we recognize them, let's also honor the everyday women who make our families, communities, economy,
I love
military, and nation so strong. The Heritage Foundation is deeply proud to honor them all.
Okay,
Not only during Women's History Month, but indeed every day
We don't
of
have-
the year.
It's only
Yeah.
3 minutes long. Oh, we back. We back. You know what it is. You know who it is. It's the Sizzle here on WLTH 1370 AM 92.7 FM. It's the Sizzle. We are the talk of the 219. Remember, we are the Sizzle. We are where community and sports meet.
Yeah.
This is the hottest talk of the region, the hottest sports show in the region, probably the hottest talk show ever of all time.
I had to put on double deodorant.
That's to keep you from being extra hot.
Well, yeah, you don't want me to be extra
Oh
hot.
no, you don't want that kind of fire.
Oh, fuzzle.
That's all fuzzle, baby.
Yeah.
That's all fizzle and no sizzle. Listen, if you've been listening to us, you understand.